Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today R.A.A.Q just filed an 8K, and I am seeing a major announcement about a business combination that matters. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. The company is moving forward with a big merger, and we're going to break down what this means for investors. Alright, so what we have here is a current report known as a Form 8. Think of this as a way for companies to quickly tell the public about important events that are happening. It is not a regular update like a quarterly report, but rather for big news. The earliest event reported here happened on the 17th of June 2026. This is the date a lot of the action we're discussing today took place. The company filing this is Real Asset Acquisition Corp, and you might know them by their ticker symbols. RAAQ is for their ordinary shares, and R.A.A.Q is for their warrants. We've actually seen some chatter about their warrants, RAAQW, showing some momentum recently, which is interesting given what is happening with the company. Real Asset Acquisition Corp is incorporated in the Cayman Islands. That is a common place for companies, especially those involved in special purpose acquisition companies or SPACs, to set up shop. Their securities, including the units, ordinary shares, and warrants, are traded on the Nasdaq stock market LLC. That is a major exchange, so it means a certain level of scrutiny and visibility. This filing also notes that R.A.A.Q is an emerging growth company. This means they get to use some relaxed reporting rules for a period, which is pretty standard for newer public companies. The main part of this filing is under Other Events. It talks about a business combination agreement that was previously announced. So, back on the 22nd of February 2026, Real Asset Acquisition Corp made a deal to combine with a company called IQM Quantum Computers, OI. IQM is a quantum computing company from Finland. This deal is designed to make IQM a publicly traded company. Now, on the 17th of June 2026, which is the date of this filing, IQM put out another announcement. They released a press release about their Capital Markets Day presentation. Essentially, they are giving investors a deep dive into their business and their plans for the future, especially as they get ready to become a public company through this merger. The filing then goes into detail about where you can find more information about this whole transaction. They mention a registration statement that was declared effective by the SEC, and that proxy materials have been sent to shareholders. This is all standard stuff for a merger like this. It essentially tells shareholders how and when to vote on the deal. They also talk about who might be involved in getting shareholders to vote yes on this deal. It is important to know that the involved parties, like the executives and directors of both companies, are considered participants in asking for your vote. This is a regulatory requirement. Now, this section is crucial. It is the forward-looking statements part. This is where the company tells you that anything they say about the future, like projections or expectations, is just that an expectation. Actual results could be very different. They use words like estimate, plan, project, and expect. They're really emphasizing that their future predictions are based on their best guesses right now, and that these guesses are not guaranteed. This is why you should always take these statements with a grain of salt. This paragraph is the legal boilerplate for things could go wrong. They list a whole bunch of potential risks, like IQM facing technical challenges in quantum computing, their own financial history with losses, needing more money in the future, and issues with intellectual property. The core risk here is that quantum computing is still a very new and developing field. It might not become commercially successful, or people might not adopt it as quickly as hoped. This is a high-risk, high-reward venture, which is typical for emerging tech companies. This is the legal way of saying, don't sue us if our predictions don't come true. They are clearly stating that actual outcomes could be very, very different from what they are saying today. They also make a point about statements beginning with "we believe." They're saying these are just their opinions based on what they know now, and they haven't necessarily done an exhaustive deep dive into every single piece of information out there. This is a really important disclaimer for SPACs. It is saying that just because the people behind R.A.A.Q might have had successful past investments, it doesn't mean this current venture will be successful too. Past performance is absolutely not a guarantee of future results, especially in speculative areas like quantum computing. This next part is about how this document isn't an offer to sell stock or a solicitation to buy it. They are saying you need to look at the official prospectus to understand any potential investment. They are very careful not to make any promises or formal offers in this broad public filing. This is a legal statement clarifying that this report is not intended to encourage you to buy or sell anything. It is purely informational about the ongoing business combination. Finally, we get to the exhibits. This section lists all the supporting documents attached to the filing. The key exhibit here is Exhibit 99.1, which is the press release IQM issued on the 17th of June 2026. This is where you'll find the details about their Capital Markets Day presentation, which is likely filled with more specifics about their technology, market outlook, and financial projections. Exhibit 104 is the cover page interactive data file. This is part of the extensible business reporting language, or XBRL format that the SE uses to make financial data more searchable and analyzable. The report is signed by Peter Ort, who is listed as the Principal Executive Officer and Co-Chairman of RAAQ Corp. Their signature confirms the accuracy of the information presented in this filing. So, what is the story here? Real Asset Acquisition Corp, a SPAC, is moving forward with its plan to merge with IQM, a quantum computing company. The main point of this filing is to announce that IQM has released its Capital Markets Day presentation, which is designed to get investors excited and informed about the deal. This is a significant step towards IQM becoming a public company. This is a classic SPAC merger, where a blank check company like RAAQ is merging with a company in a high growth but speculative sector like quantum computing. The biggest takeaway is that this is a company playing in a very cutting edge and risky space. Quantum computing has enormous potential, but it is also unproven in terms of widespread commercial adoption and profitability. Investors need to be aware of the significant risks involved, as highlighted in the forward-looking statement section. When a SPAC merges with an early-stage tech company, the typical trajectory often involves high volatility and a potential for significant downside if the technology or business model doesn't pan out. For example, many post-merger SPACs in emerging technology sectors have seen their stock prices drop 70 to 90% in the year following the merger, especially for companies with valuations under $500 million. The risk I'm watching is whether IQM can actually achieve commercial success and profitability in the quantum computing space, a field that is still very much in its infancy. What I am actually looking for is the detailed financial projections and market analysis within that Capital Markets Day presentation to see if IQM has a realistic path to commercialization and profitability. Oh, and the research tools I actually use are linked in the description. They help keep this channel going. That is my take. Stay decoded. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description.